Okay, so we are at step 4 now, which is to find suppliers. So at this point, you should have your business set up, your Seller Essential account set up, and then we completed product research where at least you know 1 to 3 product ideas, and you should have vetted those calls with me at this point. So out of those 3 ideas, we should have selected 1 together, and that is what we're going to be focusing on today, is to source a product to sell that's going to fit within that niche that was completed through product research. What I have here are a couple different supplier directories and methods on how we can get into contact with reputable suppliers and credible suppliers, most importantly. So the first one, and by far the most popular, it's one that I probably use at least 3/4 of the time for my own business, and that is Alibaba.com, which can connect you with dependable overseas suppliers. They're dominantly in China, but they give you the best rate while having the best quality. So it's one of the best value options in using Alibaba. The next one is salewho.com. This is good for overseas wholesalers. And then we have wholesalecentral.com, which is great for US suppliers. So if you're domestically here in the United States and you want to work with made in USA suppliers, this is a great resource. Next is for Indian suppliers. That is indiamart.com. And then lastly, for these supplier directories is Mercado Libre, which is for Mexican suppliers. I would say the Mexican and Indian suppliers have by far the largest amount of emerging growth for the future. They are able to achieve very significant reductions in prices compared to Chinese suppliers. And in addition, sometimes it's a lot easier for shipping. Instead of crossing from China to the United States, you can work with a Mexican supplier that is far closer and less you have to spend in shipping. So today I'm going to show you just the method using Alibaba, since that's the most popular. We're going to use this platform to find a couple different suppliers, 3 in particular, that sell some type of golf head cover. And then we are ultimately going to reach out to all 3 suppliers to receive some firm quotes, and then we can make our analysis. However, before we go ahead and we reach out to those suppliers, I will also show you this Jungle Scout Find Suppliers integration, which is just a tool and a database that you can use to quickly find reputable suppliers. So let's start out with Alibaba.com. Very simple, just head to Alibaba.com and you'll be met with the screen here. I will say use your desktop if you can, because the mobile version of this website is a little finicky, and the app is good, but at this stage, just go ahead, use the website, and you can follow along what I do here now. So the first thing we could do is we can search for products, manufacturers, or just regional supplies. I would recommend selecting products, which should be pre-selected. Click the search bar, and then we can type in golf head cover. For you, you will type in your product or your product's niche simply in here. Do not get too specific at this stage. If you're selling something very specific like a golf driver head cover that is blue, don't type in all those keywords. You'll have a limited amount of suppliers that will be shown to you. It's better to be very general to your product niche itself. That way you have more suppliers to take a look at, and more than likely, all those suppliers are going to be capable of changing the color variation or making a design length or dimension change. That's very easy for them. Okay, we'll go over to search. And this is the first thing that we need to do. So similar to the product research method, we adjust all the filters so we can narrow down the data. And the reason why we want to do that on the left side here is because we have over 4,000 different products that we have to take a look at and really analyze. So the one thing you must do is select verified supplier and then verified pro supplier. The reason why we want to work with a verified or verified pro supplier, because these are the most dependable and credible suppliers that work on Alibaba. The reason why that is because Alibaba's actually hired a third-party inspection company to go on site to these supplier locations to inspect them, to judge them, and they have to meet a strict amount of criteria in order to receive that badge. If you work with a supplier that is not verified, more than likely it's going to be okay if they're on Alibaba, but you still run the risk of a potential scam. They could also be just a supplier that is not dependable and they lack quality in their product. So it's best to work with a verified supplier. At that point, we'll scroll down here and we want to work with a supplier that has 4.5 stars or higher. And it's just another level and measure to find the credible and dependable suppliers in comparison to the ones that are poor performing. What we're seeing here, these are essentially listings for these supplier products. We can see the unit rate, which is for this one 99 cents. This one's $2.29 to $4.54. You'll see a lot of range and variation throughout that. That's to be expected, right? Depending on the quality and the supplier, they're going to have different rates. What I do at this point when I'm looking to decide, hey, that looks like a product that I want to sell for my golf head cover, I'm really looking at the images on the left here first. If it fits into the idea of what I want to do with my product, such as the differentiation aspect, then I may click it. And the second thing I'm looking at is the price, obviously, just to make sure, if I'm selling a golf head cover at $20 to $30, realistically, my unit rate should be below $5, so I still have a good chance of retaining some of that profit after all Amazon fees. And the third and final thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at the amount of years that these suppliers have been on Alibaba, and then also just double checking the verified status here. So I'll scroll through here until I find 1 to 3 different product listings, and then we're going to take a deeper dive and really assess these suppliers and these products themselves. Before we do that though, I do want to share with you another way to find these supplier listings, and that is through the Jungle Scout integrated tool. So if we log into Jungle Scout, we go over to the suppliers section, select supplier database. Again, you can search through product, company, supplier name, or the ASIN. So let's go to the search bar. Let's type in golf head cover. And you can see within seconds, we'll be met with a list of different suppliers. What I really like about this tool, one is we can filter down based off the country of origin and also some more unique parameters here. But if you're looking just to work with a supplier that's within the United States, we can come down here and select that and search. Just like Alibaba, the majority of suppliers are located in China, and that's to be expected. But it does give you that extra option in case there are US-based suppliers or Mexico or India or so forth. The other thing I really like about this is we can see very quickly, just from a dashboard standpoint, who these suppliers are working with. Because when I read the supplier name, which I cannot, I have no idea of if they're dependable, have I heard of them before, what do they actually do? It's difficult to tell, right? So what I judge, or what I base a lot of credibility on, is their customers. So this company is working with Callaway Golf Company. If you're not familiar with Callaway products, they are massive. That is one of the largest golf brand names. So if Callaway can work with them and they trust them, I think my small business can work with them and also trust them. So I love that part of that. And you can see they're all different here. So we have Dick's Sporting Goods here. We have Ping, which is another large brand name. Bettinardi, which is also a very large brand name. So this is how you can very quickly find these suppliers, and you can work with some of the best in the industry very quickly. And the last thing I'll share with you, I'll share 2 more things with you. If we click view shipments, we can see over the time what the supplier has exported from their location. So you can see if maybe they're a rising supplier, they're selling more and more units and shipping more and more shipments, I should say, every single month. You can also see who the customer was. So Topgolf is really using this supplier to their advantage. And the last thing I'll share with you is how do I actually get in contact with this supplier if I wanted to? All you have to do is you click search for contact info. It'll type that into Google for you, and more than likely it'll be one of the top 3 links, if not the first, every single time. So we can click that first link and we can quickly find their contact information and how we can email them to start an order. Okay, so back to Alibaba here. I just wanted to share that with you very quickly since that's also a great way. What I found during the meantime is I found 3 different product listings and 3 different suppliers that I would consider working with. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at all 3 of these, but we're going to also take a look at just the unique parameters and things that you should be looking for your own product. So this is the Alibaba product listing. What we have here is the title for the listing itself. We have some customer reviews, how many they sold over the past 30 days, I believe that is. And then we also have the supplier's name, which you can click to go to their page, that they're verified, and any type of specialty. And then lastly, how many years they've been on Alibaba and where they're located, which is within China. On the left side, just below that, you'll see all the product images for different golf head covers that they've produced and they've created. So you want to check out their entire catalog and really make a judgment at this point. Does this look like a product that would fit into what I want to sell or not? And on the right-hand side here, we have the prices. So you'll see a lot of differences and ranges within the prices for each supplier. And that's because it's really dependent on how many units you order from them. If you think of it from a manufacturing standpoint, if they can produce more units of the same product, they're going to be able to do it more efficiently because it's just one product run of a lot of different units. However, if they're just manufacturing 50 units of a very specific design, it's not beneficial to them or their manufacturing process to do that. So the more you order, more than likely you should get a better rate but also we need to balance that with maintaining our risk for our financial investment, so we don't purchase too many units and then we have a lot of risk when we go to Amazon and try selling them, and maybe we're not as successful as we want to be. So what we'll see up here is typically the terminology is pieces. I usually say units or single items. So if we purchase 50 to 99 pieces or units, it'd be $5.50 per unit. And this typically does not include shipping costs at this point, which is shipping from their location to the United States or to Amazon. And then we have 100 to 499, $5.10, so a 40-cent reduction. And we can see an entire $1.30 or $1.40 reduction if we purchase beyond 500 units. Okay, and then you may see some variations here, different colors, but this is a custom manufacturer, so that they really don't have anything here. So what do I mean by custom, and how does that fit into all of this? So custom means that you are either taking one of these existing designs or you're providing them a very unique and individual design to your brand. So what we'll do with my golf head cover is I want to put this whiskey and cigar glass theme on it for my logo, and then down below it I'll also put my brand of Vivere. It is entirely okay at this point not to know what your brand is or your trademark, which we'll get into later on, but it does help if you have a general idea of what you want to do with this product before we go ahead and we reach out to these suppliers. And the last thing I want to say on that is customization typically costs a little bit extra per unit in addition to what they advertise for the unit cost. So for this example, let's say we order 100 units. So our unit base price is $5.10. And then after adding our brand name to it, maybe custom material and all that, it may come out to another 30 cents per unit. So $5.40. That is to be expected. And then we have shipping on top of that. Okay, so that's one supplier. I'll show you the second. We're not going to go into too many details. But again, look through all the images, compare the unit rate, and see if it's something that you're willing to spend for their type of product. That's the second, and then here's the third. So you can see the third one here has the cheapest unit rate, but does that necessarily mean it's going to be the best product? We'll figure that out here in a little bit. Now that I have 3 suppliers, I want to go ahead and just make a final judgment decision on if they're going to be credible or not. And here's how I do that for my business and how I'm going to teach you. So I'm going to scroll down about a quarter down the page, and you'll see this section where it says know your supplier. This helps you understand a little bit more about that manufacturer and that supplier, as well as some store information and their capabilities. It's very important that they can meet some of these metrics in order to reduce your overall risk for your investment and just to have a better feeling that you are going to get a quality product at the end of the day. So we'll jump back to the slides here, and I'll cover a few different things to look for in that supplier badge. The first one, as we discussed, and it should already be this since we set our filters this way, it should be a verified supplier, which is shown right here, verified custom manufacturer. If they're verified pro, that's one step beyond, that's even better. Next is the years on Alibaba. So we mentioned this earlier in that smaller badge at the top of the page, but we want this to be 2 or more years that they've been on Alibaba. The reason why I say 2 years is because that's the average amount of time where a manufacturer will feel comfortable selling on Alibaba. And then you can also rest assured that they've probably worked with somebody in the United States, and the import process that they are going to go through with their carrier it won't be as foreign to them, if that makes sense. The third one here is the store rating of 4.5 stars or more. Fortunately, we filtered that earlier, so they should all be above 4.5 stars. And then on-time delivery rate, which is probably my most important statistic or metric that I take a look at when I look at these badges, is what percentage of the time do they meet their delivery goals to the end customer. Too often, especially if you're selling a seasonal product, you have to make sure that when you get that contract delivery date locked in with them, that they are going to meet that date and they're not going to extend it by weeks. Because if you have a certain date you need to meet for your seasonal products, and just a matter of a week or two can really affect the end result for your investment. So I want this to be above 90% or higher. Obviously, if it's closer it is to 100%, even better. That means that they are going to meet that date that they give you. Online revenue above $100,000, which is shown here. This just shows that they have a decent amount of customers and they're accustomed to taking in a large amount of orders or a large quantity of units at one time. Main market, North America, or a marketplace that you're selling in. This is sometimes shown in the section here. Don't be too worried about this if they only work in North America customers 33% of the time, let's just say. This is just something that is an additional nice to have, if you will. In the bottom two here, we have quality control and services, we want there to be on-site inspection available, which is shown right here under the quality control, finished product inspection, and they have QA/QC, which is quality assurance, quality control inspectors on site. They have 3 for this example. The reason why we want that to happen is if we choose to opt into Alibaba's trade assurance, that will allow us to receive a final report once everything's packaged at the supplier's facility. And it just puts someone on site for you, boots on the ground, for them to make sure if you ordered 500 units, you are getting 500 units. And if there are any damages, that supplier can fix those defects or damages for those units that they inspect. Otherwise, they could package fewer units than you ordered. There could be some damaged products that will be transited. And ultimately, that will be impacted on you once everything gets to Amazon and your customers start to purchase your product. So it's great to have that. And then lastly, customization is available. We can see here where it says services and order with confidence, full customization, verified as custom manufacturer. That means if we tell them, hey, on our golf head cover, we want this custom logo that I created or I purchased, they can go ahead and they can quickly and professionally do that for us. All right, so at this point, I would go back to those 3 listings. I would make sure that all 3 of those suppliers meet this criteria or exceed it, and then I would start the process of reaching out to them. So now it's time to reach out to the suppliers, and you can easily do this through Alibaba by just clicking Send Inquiry. And you'll see this pop-up come up, and it will display some different things here. So it will say the quantity, which is pieces, or if you're purchasing fabric, it may not be in pieces, it may be in per yard or per foot. So you can change the unit here. So for us in our example, we will be ordering 300 units. So we should expect that $5.10 base unit cost. And then this section here, this is where you actually put your message to the supplier. Now, fortunately, I have 2 different templates that you can use. I have an extended one and then a more concise one. But overall, the message here is we want to ask the supplier to provide us a firm quote based on the number of units with some type of customization, and make sure you outline that. And then also include the shipping cost to the United States. It's very important that we get this final number or cost per unit so we can compare them to all 3 different suppliers. So yes, we are going to do this with all 3 suppliers that you've chosen. That way it gives us the best way to look at all 3 quotes, figure out which one is the best rate and has the best quality, and it helps us to make that educated decision. So the longer template that I have here, and you'll be able to download this in the resources section, which is coming next after this video. And you can download this, you can copy and paste it, and just change everything that is in bold to apply to your supplier that you're reaching out to. This is a lot of questions, and I will be honest, some suppliers may not even reach back out to you because you're asking 9 different questions. However, this gives you every piece of information that you need to know, such as, can I have some photos? What's the price for different quantities of different pieces? And the whole way down to customization and the type of packaging, which are very important questions. So you can use this template, just change out the bolded areas, or in the instruction set, which I'll also put in the resources here after this video, we will find this message example. This is the more concise one, and it really just hits to the point. My name is so-and-so, I'm the owner of my business, I'm interested in this product, I hope you can answer these questions. And what I have here, which you'll see, is the first one is enter half of the units you actually want with DDP shipping Incoterms delivered to the final destination. So there's 2 elements here that I just want to touch upon quickly. The first one is the negotiation tactic that I've used in the past, which works out really well. So in my previous example, when I wanted to order 300 units, I would actually put 150 units in here. The reason why I do that is because I'm sending them that I want 150 units. I plan to receive a response from them with the cost, and then I will negotiate with them and say, hey, if I go ahead and I order 300 units, would you be willing to reduce my unit rate down to whatever your request is? You tell them first. And 9 times out of 10, they always end up reducing the rate down to what you asked for or very close to it. And the reason why that is because think of their winning story that they can tell their boss. This sales associate all of a sudden just doubled an order. And so that, yes, they're going to give you a better rate. It's more efficient for them, and you're ordering more now. The interesting thing here is that you always planned on ordering 300 units for this example. You did not actually double your order, but in the eyes of the sales associate that you're working with, you did double your order. So that's something you can do if you want. Usually works, and you can reduce your rate. And the second part here is the DDP Incoterms. This is delivered duty paid. We will discuss this more in the shipping section, but DDP essentially is a shipping Incoterm that puts the supplier and their chosen shipping carrier, makes them fully liable, I should say, to get that product from their location the whole way to the final destination, which will end up being your location. If you used a different Incoterm, such as XWorks, EXW, those are the two common ones, the supplier will only be liable to deliver those goods to their location for pickup. So once your carrier or their carrier picks up the products, they're off the hook. If anything happens in transit where those products are damaged or they fall off a cargo ship, they are not liable at all. So that's why it's important to go ahead, add the DDP Incoterms. It's minimal cost, but it saves you a lot of headaches. All right. Second one is to deliver to your zip code. You don't have to provide them your full address at this point, since you may or may not be working with them. I would just provide your zip code. Third here is do not include U.S. sales tax, as I am tax exempt in the state of, enter your state name. Yes, so this is very important too, and I will show you in the video after this how to apply for this tax exemption. This tax exemption is called the A-Step program with Alibaba, or Alibaba U.S. Sales Tax Exemption Program. So whenever you purchase products in your home state, depends on the state, but say you were to go down to your local retail store and you were to purchase a new t-shirt, you will typically be charged 6 to 8% sales tax that you will pay to them. However, since we are the reseller, meaning we are the middleman, we are purchasing products overseas and then we're ultimately going to sell them in the United States to a customer, who that customer will end up paying that sales tax. We don't have to pay the sales tax then. Otherwise, it's double dipping, paying sales tax to them, customers paying sales tax to us. That's not how it works. So we will apply for the resale tax exemption. That way, whenever you purchase your products from the overseas supplier, there'll be no tax added on. This is completely legal, and this is what all larger brand names on Amazon and off of Amazon and other platforms, they all take advantage of this tax exemption to save some money, since the end customer will end up paying that tax. So stay tuned after this video and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Okay, back to the message example, the concise one. The last part here is I plan to add my branded logo, our trademark, and tell them where you want it and roughly what size. So please include that in the pricing. This just makes sure that they include some type of customization in there for you. Again, this is not the final quote that we'll receive from them. This is just to get a better idea, a more accurate idea of what the unit cost will be per unit. All right, we are back on the first supplier listing page, and I've copied that more concise supplier template that you have access to into here. So I added my name, my business, the product that I'm looking at, the golf head cover, and then also the amount of units. Again, this was half the units, 150. Then I'm going to go back to them for a second round and ask them for 300 units, which is what I realistically want, and hoping that they really bring down that unit rate to what I request. DDP shipping Incoterms, the zip code I want to ship to, do not include U.S. sales tax, state of Texas, and then I plan to add my branding logo to the front and top of the head cover. At this point, I'm not even telling them what, my whiskey cigar idea or anything that I've created. You can if you have access to that and you know what you want to do, but at this point, you really don't need to. So it's as simple as that. And down here, before you click send inquiry, it's very important that you do make sure that this is not selected. Recommend matching suppliers if this supplier doesn't contact me. You will receive a flood of messages and emails from suppliers all around the world saying, hey, I sell golf head cover. Here's a quote. Here's this and that. You can if you can deal with that, but it really annoys the heck out of me when I receive 1,000 different emails and messages just because I left that selected. And lastly, I would just deselect the agree to share business card with supplier. That's up to you if you want them to, if you want to share more of your personal information or not. All right, so at this point, go ahead, click send inquiry. We'll do that again for the second listing and the third listing, and then we'll check out those quotes and we'll put everything in a spreadsheet to really analyze what is the best deal for us.